Good evening and welcome to tonight's episode of FWE Extra. I'm Interim Commissioner Nick Fury. Before we get started tonight, there is an urgent matter that I need to address. This issue between the Disney Queens and Disney Strong Style has gone far enough. And as Interim Commissioner, I feel I should have stepped in a little sooner regarding this matter. But now I'm inserting myself into this issue and announcing that this will finally be settled. At Combat Evolved, we will have a 3 versus 3 match, and the stipulation will be decided tonight. A chosen member of the Disney Queens will take on a chosen member of Disney Strong Style. And the winning team will get to choose the environment in which the PLE match will take place. Now, let me be perfectly clear. All other members of both teams are completely banned from ringside. If members of either team get involved tonight, they will forfeit the stipulation decision. And if both teams get involved, then the stipulation decision will fall to me. That match will take place later tonight, so let's get this evening's episode going right now.
From the ashes of humble beginnings, rise the sense of regeneration, signaling the dawn of a new age. The foundations of the old and antiquated, now demolished, and in its place the newly built pillars of fearlessness and opportunity. Dreams are clearer, expectations are set higher, and the quest for championship gold is even stronger than it's ever been before. At one time or another, everything goes through a period of evolution. The world of wrestling is no different. Welcome to a new age. Welcome to a new era. Welcome to a new FWE.
Gentlemen, and welcome to the Go Home Show of FWE Extra as we are on the heels of the Combat Evolved PLE. I'm Seth Cole alongside the Wayfinder Cruiser Champion Jack Mitchell. And Jack, how about the announcement we had just before we came on the air? Finally, the rivalry between the Disney Queens and Disney Strong Style appears that it is going to finally come to a head.
And it's going to be a big one here, a big collision between those two tag teams when we get to Combat Evolved. That feels like it's long overdue, but we definitely need a solution. So props to our interim commissioner, Nick Fury, for stepping in and doing something about it.
It will be interesting to see exactly who the Disney Queens and Disney Strong Style elect to be their respective representatives in that one-on-one matchup as we get ready for 6-woman tag team action here involving a couple of women that have formerly held the Female Fighting Championship. Katniss Everdeen, when she ended up winning the Female Fighting Championship, it was in the then traditional 8-woman over-the-top rope battle royal. A little bit tougher of a task, if you will, for Ellie Williams. Saw her able to defeat Mulan in a knockout match, and then ended up losing the belt in maybe one of the, maybe the one of the most gruesome women's matches we've seen in recent memory, that Underground match.
Not maybe, definitely. That was very gruesome, but the Underground matches certainly so far lived up to the hype here.
Jessica Shelton, a former hardcore champion, check that, former multi-time hardcore champion, going to join forces with Catching Fireflies here tonight. It's interesting, we look at the card, it's built up almost to full capacity. Still a couple of things we have to get out of the way before we eventually get to the PLE on July the 2nd, but some very interesting names that right now are not in line to be taking part in either the PLE itself or the pre-show 1 hour earlier. Jessica Shelton, one of those individuals.
Yeah, certainly, it's kind of been a minute since she held championship gold here at FWE, so this would be a good opportunity for her to try to get things back on the right track at the very least. If there's nothing really else at stake in this matchup, at the very least, put yourself back on the map. Let people know that you still have what it takes to win titles again here.
Folks, we want to let you know that this is indeed our go-home show on Saturdays for FWE Extra, but be sure to join us here a week from tonight, as both myself and Jack Mitchell will be bringing you a special podcast as we will precurse what will be going down at the Combat Evolved PLE, as well as some special announcements that are going to majorly impact fantasy wrestling entertainment as we know it in the upcoming future. Kind of at a tough road here to start their FWE career. Huntrix, Rumi, Mira, and Zoe. Zamir and Rumi lose in tag team action to the Unholy Union. Zoe lost a one-on-one matchup to Black Widow. And how about this? On the Combat Evolved pre-show, Unholy Union, Catching Fireflies, Daughters of Thanos, and the K-pop Demon Hunters #1 contenders match, and I understand the winners of that matchup will face the Disney Queens, Rapunzel and Belle, on the PLE show of Combat Evolved for the Women's Disney Tag Team Championships.
That is huge. Somebody could potentially be pulling double duty at Combat Evolved. You got the match in the pre-show, then you got the match in the actual PLE.
So a little precursor here between two teams that we know will be partaking in that fatal four-way, Catching Fireflies on one side of the ring with Jessica Shelton, K-pop Demon Hunters on the other side.
As you were saying with Huntrix, it hasn't exactly been the cleanest start to their FWE careers. All three of them suffering losses in their first matches in different capacity.
So of course, that matchup, that loss to Black Widow that Zoe participated in, where we end up finding out that Harley Quinn is going to be the #1 contender for the Cozy Cone Cruiserweight Championship, calling her shot after winning that Gauntlet Eliminator match back at Open Fight Night. Nice fireman's carry reversal there by Rumi on Ellie. Mentioned about the careers that both Ellie and Katniss Everdeen have had in singles competition. Both have been able to hold championship gold via the Female Fighting Championship, but they are still looking as a duo to hold the tag team titles.
Cover here. Going with the cover and kick out at 1 by Ellie. That's a big chop to the face. Really trying to stay on the offensive here. She had the first cover of the matchup, didn't result in anything, but she'll go for the tag instead.
Off the suplex, and now Ellie
on the other side
makes the tag there to her tag team partner, Katniss Everdeen. Turnaround forearm there by Mira, gonna drop Katniss up. Katniss, roll up here. Look for the surprise roll up, and not even yet gonna get a 1 count, trying to maybe catch Mira a little bit off guard.
He did just a little bit, but didn't quite get a 1 count out of it. Like if you're in this matchup right now, you need to prepare for what could be a marathon. I mean, we've seen regular 1-on-1, or I should say 2-on-2 tag team matches go on for quite some time as of late, so this matchup might not be any different. And when you add a third competitor on each team to the mix, could be in for a bit of a long one here.
You mentioned the phrase going on for a long time, and I think that could encapsulate the rivalry between the Disney Queens and Disney Strong Style. A lot of people, looking back at recent memory, will think back to that maybe the rivalry started when we ended up seeing Kita and Esmeralda coming out flanking Autumn Brooks when Autumn defended the Hardcore Championship against Jasmine. No, it goes way back even further than that. We could go all the way back to when the Disney Queens, Belle and Rapunzel, had a stranglehold, a death grip on those tag team championships. Almost kind of got goaded into defending the titles against Disney Strong Style and lost. It's been a long time coming that we finally get that payoff, and it sounds like, according to Nick Fury, it's going to happen at Combat Evolved.
It harkens back to a time when the Disney Queens were basically locking everybody else out of the tag team picture on the women's side. It felt like every team they would face would be in some sort of an eliminator match, something like that, that would take them out of the tag team title pictures if they were to lose. And so many teams were barred from competing for those titles until they were finally taken by Disney Strong Style.
You mentioned it's been a while since we've seen Jessica Shelton inside of the wrestling ring and going to work here. That was a very interesting suplex by Jessica Shelton on Mira. Now going to lock in that armbar. Jessica Shelton, very well known for her submission speciality. Has that octopus lock, the Asuka lock, and right there with that Fujiwara armbar. We talk about that upcoming matchup here. One representative of the Disney Queens, one representative of Disney Strong Style. Now, one would certainly think, as check out at one by Shelton, one would certainly think that choices are limited for Disney Strong Style. Obviously, you've got Megara, you've got Kita, and then Autumn Brooks, who's aligned herself with that group. Esmeralda still, as we are aware, still medically not cleared to compete with that rib injury, but a lot of options on the Disney Queen side. Not only do you have Mulan, Jasmine, and Ariel, but then you've also, potentially got Belle and Rapunzel that could maybe be the representative here. Where do you think maybe the strategy would lie? Who would be the prime contender on both sides?
Well, in the side of the Disney Queens, I still don't think I would pick Rapunzel for this matchup. She's probably still not feeling 100% after going through that ridiculous Escape the Bridge match that she recently had.
I agree.
With the Unholy Union, so I don't know if that's the direction that I would go if that's on the Disney Queens. But anybody else, I mean, you could even consider Belle for that matchup. She wasn't in that matchup for very long. Cover here.
Ellie with a modified Falcon Arrow there on Zoe. And I was going to be interested to see how Ellie Williams does in this matchup because, remember, she and Mulan were both involved in that underground matches. Here's the cover, and Rumi will break it up. Depending on how Ellie did here in this matchup, might maybe be a gauge into whether or not Mulan could be the representative for the Disney Queens tonight.
They're certainly going to be deliberating their options in the back here because, again, it's an important choice because we like to see those members get involved in those matchups, but everybody else is barred from ringside. You have the two competitors, and then that's it.
One would certainly have to wonder, too, depending on who would end up winning the matchup, what type of a stipulation would Disney Strong Style choose? What type would the Disney Queens choose? I mean, obviously, you would choose a match stipulation that would play to your strengths, and I kind of feel like if it's the Disney Queens, you're probably going to go with a stipulation where you very easily could stack the numbers against the opposition, probably something with no disqualification where you could have the entire horde of the Disney Queens get involved at some point legally.
Oh, big drop kick there.
Ellie trying to crawl over, looks like to make a tag, and she will to Jessica Shelton. Rumi played to the crowd, and it's going to cost her as she turns around and meets a drop kick.
You're going to want to save the playing to the crowd for their concerts that you perform in. Maybe not a wrestling match.
Whoa!
Oh.
Ducked that right hand and hits one of her own. Does Rumi, though. Turns this around, and, consider this as well. We already mentioned that K-Pop Demon Hunters Catching Firefly is going to be 2 of the 4 teams represented on the Combat Evolved pre-show in that number 1 contenders tag team tornado-style match. To have an opportunity at the Disney Queens and the Women's Disney Tag Team Championships. I feel like we have used and abused the word momentum the last couple of weeks, but I feel like that's definitely something that could be gained here in this matchup, depending on which side of the coin you're on, the winning or the losing side in this matchup.
Absolutely. You get a win in this matchup, especially if you're the one by yourself, if you're the one that gets the pinfall or the submission, then you're going to be in a lot better spot mentally going into that matchup. And again, that's going to be important too. Again, knowing that one team is going to have a matchup on both the pre-show and the PLE itself. You're going to be pulling double duty in that. Submission locked in on the outside of the ring. It's not going to win the match, but it'll do damage.
Tell you what, Brock Lesnar would love this matchup because this has been Suplex City. I think just about everybody has hit a suplex so far in this matchup.
Didn't know the FWE Fantasy Dome was in Suplex City, but I guess it is
either.
this.
Oh!
Ooh!
Back first into the ring post, and that's not the first time that Ellie Williams has had that happen. She was in the ring post multiple times in that underground match against Mulan. Gets back in as the referee was at a count of 9. The K-Pop Demon Hunters almost had their first victory here in FWE via countout, but now kick out at 1 by Mira.
Very nearly had a count-out victory. Referee Ernest Wright gave her just a little bit of time to work her way back into the ring.
Ellie spinning Mira around, not sure what she's setting up for. Almost a modified wasteland there. And now Mira is going to make the tag. Something I've just been made aware of here as well. It may not happen prior to Combat Evolved, but at some point down the road, one would certainly have to assume that Ellie Williams is going to have a rematch for that female fighting championship. She is owed a rematch, so right now focusing on the tag team championships with Katniss Everdeen, but kind of something to squirrel away for future weeks, future months here.
As maybe the world's leading expert on waiting a really long time to catch a championship rematch, I think she could gladly focus on some other things for the time being.
Big shot there to the gut as Mira now legal. Irish whipped off the ropes. Nice go behind into the swinging neck breaker. And for the most part, K-Pop Demon Hunters have been in control of this matchup as Katniss comes in to the aid of her tag team partner to break up a potential 3. Again, we are literally on the home stretch to Combat Evolved, the biggest party of the summer. The card continues to fill up with matches that will take place not only on the main show at 7 p.m. Eastern, but we've also got an hour-long pre-show starting at 6 o'clock Eastern. We know now that Carlos Zimmerman, who will be in action later on tonight, he's going to be defending the Intercontinental Championship against Nick Gunther. Black Widow will be defending the Cozy Cone Cruiserweight Championship against Harley Quinn. We know the Men's Disney Tag Team Championships will be on the line. Ed and Eddie of the family defending against the Thrill Seekers, Dylan Young and Kyle Matthews. My broadcast colleague Jack Mitchell, he'll be putting the Wayfinder Cruiser Championship on the line against Baymax. A lot of history between those two. Matt McIntyre, he'll be defending the United States Championship that he's held for over 300 days against Wonder Woman. Moana will be defending the Women's Universal Championship against the Guardians of the Ring tournament winner Shuri. And Michael Norman, Shaggy Rogers, they will fight for the now vacant Tri-Wizard Championship. Michael Norman winning that 20-man over-the-top rope battle royal. Shaggy Rogers, the men's Guardians of the Ring tournament winner. And as we heard at the beginning of the evening, we will have a 3 versus 3 matchup between the Disney Queens and Disney Strong Style type of matchup still to be determined based off of the winner of tonight's main event.
Ellie just landed a massive springboard dive there, and now she's not done. Big clothesline there, drops Zoe. She'll go for the tag on Jess.
Of course, as well, we just ended up having announced moments ago On the pre-show, we will have a women's fatal four-way tag team eliminator #1 contenders match to determine new #1 contenders for the Women's Disney Tag Team Championships. Hold on! That's the Oscar lock. Legs are grapevine, center of the ring, and Mira's going to break it up.
Was quick to try to get that one broken up as quick as she possibly could. I mean, that probably could have been the matchup. We're entering marathon territory with this thing now. It's gone on for quite some time. At some point, one big move is going to be all it takes.
Oh, look at this. Roll up. Jackknife cover. And a kick out at 1 by Jess. We do know that the Disney Queens, Belle and Rapunzel, they will be in action at Combat Evolved defending those tag team championship belts against the winner of that pre-show matchup. Either be catching Fireflies, K-pop Demon Hunters, the Unholy Union, or the Daughters of Thanos. I think there's one particular team they do not want to go up against because I think they've had their fill of the Unholy Union.
Roll up here into the cover. And a kick out before 1 by Jess. There's still plenty of life.
Rear strike did take a little bit of time getting to that cover, but to your point, still a lot left in the tank by the former multi-time hardcore champion who now lays in those martial arts kicks. Makes the tag into Katniss Everdeen.
Oh! That's going for that springboard. Like more of a forearm, almost like a Superman punch in a sense. Oh, roll up here.
Nice reversal there by Katniss. Shoulders are down. Now shifts it over. Reversal by Rumi. Another reversal by Katniss. And kick out at 1. Oh!
Oh! Huge spear from out of nowhere.
Just cut Katniss in half. Now the tag into Mira. Based off of the graphic we saw, I'm assuming that Rumi and Mira are going to represent the trio of Huntrix in that tag team matchup at the Combat Evolved pre-show, and Ellie breaks up that pinfall.
That's working her way back up to her feet. Another spear.
Oh, and now setting Katniss up. Go behind. And hits the takedown on Katniss. Could that be it? Cover is in. And Jess goes in to break it up before referee's hand came down for 2. Mira, not all that happy, followed her all the way to the outside of the ring.
Jess very, very quick to get in the ring and break that one up. This thing is still not over just yet. Huntrix, though, determined to try and get their first win here in FWE. Is again, one last reminder here. Combat Evolved coming to you Thursday, July 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern. Of course, the pre-show coming an hour early, so make sure you tune into that as well, because we've got massive announcements on that pre-show that will concern the future of FWE, as well as a few matches on that pre-show. One was advertised a little earlier tonight.
You thought Paramount was big. Combat Evolved may match, if not surpass, what Paramount brought to the table. Mentions the biggest party of the summer, and we're not just saying that as a promo. It is going to be massive in more ways than one. And as well, we will not be bringing you an FWE Extra episode. Hold that thought, as Ellie with a cover on Rumi, who has been busted open around the hairline. This is the final. Whoa, hold on!
Oh, man!
Sinister Spores maybe setting up there off the precursor of the mist. Cover is in by Ellie. And both the K-pop Demon Hunters, Zoe and Mira, coming in to break that one up. Next Saturday night, this is the final episode prior to Combat Evolved for FWE Extra. Next Saturday night, join myself, Jack Mitchell, for a special FWE podcast, as we will be looking ahead to that Combat Evolved PLE, as well as some very important announcements regarding the future of fantasy wrestling entertainment. You are not going to want to miss it. Some major, major announcements to come.
You can tell the crowd is buzzing. They feel like this is the end game.
Leg drop by Ellie.
Man.
Ruby's got to make a tag in the worst way, but might be setting up for her own version of takedown here. Ellie in trouble. Oh! Lands right on the back of her neck. Rumi floats into the cover, and again, Shelton in to break it up.
She went to break it up, and she took out referee Ernest Wright in the process.
Friendly fire there for our referee.
He got back up quick. I think he's used to taking these bumps as of late.
Gotten himself conditioned for that. Oh my!
Oh my.
The air on that elbow from the top rope all the way out to the floor below. Ellie has not moved, and now Rumi going to work on Ellie's teammates on the apron, just taken down with the drop kick. Now the shot here to Katniss. I mean, K-Pop Demon Hunters, they've had this matchup 1, 2, or 3 different times, but the teammates have been able to run in and break up the pinfalls. It looks like they're trying to take care of that situation. Zoe is not legal, but Ellie with a arm wrench on Zoe, and now German suplex to Rumi. I believe Ellie and Rumi are the 2 legal participants here.
Ellie decided that she would deposit Zoe over the top rope instead, because if Zoe stayed in the ring for too long, she was at risk of being counted out.
Snap takedown, and just could see right there, it looks like, as you said, this matchup has gone on quite a while. We're starting to see the exhaustion set in on both sides. Another suplex there by Ellie. Rumi rolling to the outside. Rumi still has been in this matchup for quite a bit after getting busted open. Still has not been able to make a tag to her teammates.
I almost thought for a second while Ellie was down, that would have been the perfect opportunity to do so, but instead she tried to keep attacking and paid the price for it.
Headbutt right to that open wound. I don't know if you've noticed this, but Katniss has not gotten back up on the apron.
Katniss is just kind of standing back right now and observing.
Not sure if there's a reason for that. I just wonder if maybe something happened during that apron attack by Rumi, and maybe Katniss feels that she's not able to compete any longer, but now essentially, if she doesn't get up there on the apron, we're looking at a handicap match, 3v2.
Yeah, that'll definitely impact the matchup, though, but a big crossbody from Jess going to go into the cover. This could be it.
Cover in on Rumi, who's going to be able to power out just before 3.
Huge knee. Jess is determined to make sure this thing ends right here, right now. She knows the situation her team is in right now. Something is going on with Katniss for sure.
Well, definitely Ellie and Jess have noticed that laceration on the forehead that targeted Rumi's head region. Is now Jess. Oh, guillotine Zoe up on the top rope prior to the drop kick to Mira. And now Rumi is all by herself. Nobody up on the apron to help her out, but may not need the help as a reverse DDT on the outside.
It's a big reversal right now. The odds are a little bit more even while her teammates are down. They'll eventually work their way back up to the ring apron here. I mean, I'm still not sure what's going on with Katniss. She clearly hasn't backed out of the match. It's not like she's quitting on them or walking out on them, but definitely something is up.
I have to wonder, I'm trying to remember back what move it was that Rumi hit on her, and I'm almost wondering if maybe Katniss, something didn't feel right off the impact, and she's obviously still here for support, but may feel that if there's some nagging injury or something like that, does not want to exacerbate that before we get to combat involved, as Ellie nearly gets the pinfall victory on Rumi. So that's a bit concerning right there with Katniss. Look at this, using the ropes right in front of the referee. I'm surprised that Ernest Wright even counted 1.
He was a little too quick to look at the shoulders there. Well, clearly, Ellie and Jess are still able to work as effectively as they possibly can right now. And again, Rumi has not been able to get a tag yet.
This is going to be interesting to follow up, especially with the fact that Catching Fireflies will be in that #1 contenders match at the pre-show Combat Evolved. Octopus Lock is locked in, center of the ring, and
That's tap
Rumi.
out.
Yeah, I believe there was a verbal give up by Rumi. Still some question marks surrounding Katniss Everdeen there, second half of this matchup, but that is going to be some major momentum for Catching Fireflies going into that #1 contenders match at Combat Evolved.
Big win for them, obviously. The K-pop team, they're going to be frustrated about that one. Still unable to get a win, but we've got Carlos Zimmerman taking on Hades. That's coming up next year on FWE Extra.
Carlos Zimmerman, when we get to the Combat Evolved PLE, he will have held that belt for over a month as he prepares for his second title defense. Formerly retained the title against the most recent Intercontinental Champion Dylan Poteet, and now looks ahead towards his next opponent, Nick Gunther. But tonight, he has to take on Gunther's teammate out of the Disciples of Darkness. And one would certainly have to think this matchup, at least with the Disciples of Darkness, it's not about wins or losses. It's basically Hades with an opportunity to soften up Carlos Zimmerman for Nick Gunther before we get to that premium live event.
Nick's presence here ringside, of course, might make Carlos a little bit uneasy. He might have to keep his head on a swivel on this one.
How about the way that Nick Gunther got that #1 contendership? People are still talking about that. This past Thursday night, a 5-man eliminator-style tables match, and let's be honest, Gunther was the first one to go through a table in that matchup, but the table didn't break, and then he would eliminate all the other 4 to become #1 contender. A lot of people thinking he kind of cheated the system.
I mean, you could say that, but I don't really know if that's the greatest wording for that. I don't think he really cheated the system when the table doesn't break. There's nothing anyone can do in that instance.
We've seen Nick Gunther embroiled in that rivalry with RJ Bishop back when he was under the guise, the mask known as the Shadow Lord. Fought RJ for the Triwizard Championship multiple times. That Triwizard Championship now vacant after we saw RJ Bishop attack Commissioner Woody backstage during open fight night as Hades nearly ended this matchup about as quickly as it started. Now no Michael Norman, Shaggy Rogers will fight for that title belt. RJ Bishop still serving his suspension here from FWE.
For Hades, you think about this matchup, I mean, this is not about winning the matchup. It's about dishing out as much punishment to Carlos as you possibly can. But, you know, it's just crazy to think about how long the rivalry between Nick and RJ has been going, because this is something that went all the way back to when RJ first had the Burger Man persona, and he first broke away. They were once tag team partners with Vicious and Delicious, and they broke away from each other at one point. It's been going really ever since then. You have to think about all the matchups that they had with one another, as Hades just inadvertently took out his own teammate there.
Little friendly fire as he speared Carlos Zimmerman to the outside, and Zimmerman ended up in Nick Gunther's lap. Now Hades going to make his way out here right in front of us. Oh, Carlos with a forearm shot to Hades, and may have just ticked Hades off. It's interesting to think, too, both these individuals have some history with each other surrounding that Intercontinental Championship. Both were participants in that fatal four-way matchup back at Paramount that also involved Robbie Gilvin and a returning then RJ Bishop.
Almost wonder what the mindset might be for Hades as well, because that Intercontinental Championship was once around his waist. Ended up losing it to Dylan Poteet.
You bring up a great point. I mean, I'd say it doesn't seem like it's about wins or losses here, but in consideration of what you just said, is Carlos off the knee, gets a 1 count. If Hades is somehow able to pick up a victory over Carlos Zimmerman tonight, that could potentially put him in line for a future shot at the Intercontinental Championship and an opportunity for his second reign with that belt.
A great point.
Oh, man.
The back body drop.
Oh,
Carlos might not want to get up.
No, indeed. As looks like Hades may be setting up for that choke slam.
He didn't get up. He was thinking about it.
Caused Hades to change his mind, which may have been a blessing in disguise. I'm honestly not sure Carlos knew that Hades was setting up for that choke slam, but now a vice grip here by Hades. This is a submission move, wrenching in on the nerves right around the temples. Carlos with a couple of well-placed shots to the gut, able to fight out.
Interaction on the ropes there, and now Carlos off the middle rope to a crossbody almost. Brought Hades down, another springboard for good measure.
It's going to be interesting to kind of follow Nick Gunther when we get to Combat Evolved. Obviously, he's got his sights set on the Intercontinental Championship, but let's also not forget, he twice fought RJ Bishop under the Shadow Lord guise for the Tri-Wizard Championship. That belt is now vacant, and a lot of people, in part, leading to the crash out we saw by RJ Bishop, kind of due to what Nick Gunther did with his betrayal. You gotta think Nick is not yet done with also setting his sights on that Tri-Wizard Championship. So we obviously know that Michael Norman, Shaggy Rogers, they'll be fighting for the belt at Combat Evolved, but you gotta think at some point the winner of that matchup may have to deal with Nick Gunther in the future.
It's an interesting juxtaposition when you think about it as well, because Nick is, as the Shadow Lord, he fought against RJ twice. RJ is 2-0 in those matchups, yet it doesn't really feel like RJ was the winner of that rivalry, because they both got injured like crazy in the ambulance match they had all the way back at Clash at Coruscant. But in spite of Nick losing the matchup, he was back first, and then now his actions caused RJ to snap. He had that crash out where he attacked Woody and it got him suspended, and the Tri-Wizard Championship was vacated, so it doesn't really feel like RJ was on the victorious end of the matchups, even though he's 2-0.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, I mean, no belt around his waist, but kind of seeming to accomplish his goals, if you will. Nick Gunther in those two previous matchups between himself and RJ Bishop, as Hades now busted open, delivers a right hand to Carlos Zimmerman in the corner, and now,
Seen this before.
Exposing that turnbuckle there. I don't know if he's planning on using that for offense or if he's trying to use that as a distraction for Ernest Wright to be able to do something behind the referee's back, as a big knee right up under the jaw.
I mean, that's exactly how Moana was able to claim the Universal Championship with their cash-in, because Earl DeVille tried to do that. Distract Ernest Wright. Oh, look at Carlos.
Man, that knee just drove Hades back. And now we're going to go into a slugfest here. I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily want to get into a slugfest with Hades, but this might be that Texas pride coming out of the Intercontinental champ.
If you're going to be a champion in FWE, you got to be a fighting champion. You got to be ready to defend this title week in and week out. He's saying, bring it on.
Gosh, one of the best strikers in the men's division here. Hades laying in the right hands, and oh, here we go.
Hockey fight right in the middle of the ring. I don't know who's really the favorite in this exchange. But Carlos got the last shot in there.
Yeah, Hades a little wobbly legged right there as Carlos heads to the top.
Oh! Big
Double axe
handle into the cover.
Cover is in. He's got that arm hooked away from the ropes, but Hades able to kick out.
Playing, I don't want to say chicken, but definitely maybe more of a cat and mouse game there.
Hades busted open. Oh, spear!
Massive spear!
From out of nowhere. Spear by Carlos Zimmerman. It's enough. Oh! And look at the look on Carlos's face. He thought that was it.
You cannot believe it. That massive spear almost split Hades in half. I can't believe I said that, but Carlos is definitely, ever since winning that slugfest, or really right before that too, when he was able to basically intimidate Hades with that big elbow that knocked him backwards. Gonna control this one.
Second time! Second spear! Cover is in. Is this enough to put Hades away? And Zimmerman picks up the victory.
Here's your winner, Carlos.
That is massive statement win.
And one thing I noticed too is that he turned right over and looked at Nick right after that match was over.
Locking eyes with his future opponent, Carlos Zimmerman, with a massive victory over Hades as he looks to defend his title at the Combat Evolved PLE. And up next, it looks like it's been made official. Autumn Brooks will represent Disney Strong Style, Belle for the Disney Queens, to name the stipulation for the 3-on-3 match at Combat Evolved. Welcome you back to our main event here tonight on FWE Extra, one-on-one matchup to determine the stipulation for the matchup, the 3 versus 3 matchup at Combat Evolved between Disney Strong Style and the Disney Queens. And we showed you the 2 participants before we went to that commercial break. Belle will represent the Disney Queens, and I kind of like this because, as you said, Jack, Rapunzel still got to be beaten and bruised after going the length of that Escape the Break match. Belle got out relatively quick, so she would be, relatively speaking, the freshest.
And maybe a good opportunity for her as well to be able to get some in-ring experience before that matchup. Obviously with that tag team title matchup that will happen at Combat Evolved as well. Big match here for both sides.
There's an old gypsy saying, only when you are completely beaten down do you finally understand the meaning of true strength. Disney Strong Style would like to thank Autumn Brooks for her assistance in this battle. But it's time for the gypsy to bring down the curse. I'm back.
What?
Are you kidding me?
Hang on!
That's Esmeralda's music.
Representing the Syndicate from Paris, France.
Oh my goodness!
He is back. Belle was completely caught off guard by this.
When we came into the arena tonight, we were told Esmeralda was still not medically cleared, but it looks like we may have been taken for fools. She's going to represent Disney Strong Style here tonight. Her in-ring return after Belle and Rapunzel attacked her in a parking lot backstage.
Maybe some vengeance to be had here as well. It might not just be about the match stipulation in this particular one-on-one matchup. It's about dishing out punishment. It's about getting revenge for Esmeralda.
So now I gotta make some adjustments adjustments here to my notes, because coming into tonight, it was looking like it was going to be Mulan, Jasmine, and Ariel for the Disney Queens against Autumn, Brooks, Kita, and Meg. But now it looks like Autumn's going to step aside. Esmeralda's going to take the spot. So it looks like the core 3 of Disney Strong Style will be at the Combat Evolved PLE in that 3 versus 3 match.
You noticed Autumn introduced Esmeralda back to the matchup and then walked right backstage. That's because everyone else on these tag teams is barred from ringside in this matchup. If anybody interferes, their team is going to lose the right to pick the stipulation at the match at Combat Evolved.
So we should make a note here that Esmeralda making her in-ring return. Apparently doctors have medically cleared her to compete, but let's also not forget, Jack, it was a rib injury, bruised ribs. Just because you're medically cleared does not mean you're at 100%. You gotta wonder if there's any mitigating factors from that rib injury that Belle could expose in this matchup here tonight, or that the Disney Queens could expose when we get to Combat Evolved.
Like the other members watching backstage right now for the Disney Queens are thinking about that more than Belle is right now, because Belle, for all intents and purposes, we got a cover here. Kick out at 1 by Belle, but Belle, she saw the same announcement we did, I'm pretty sure. So for all intents and purposes, she was expecting to be wrestling against Autumn Brooks right now. She had no idea that Esmeralda was going to return and be ready for this matchup.
Yeah, I don't think anybody except the Disney Disney Strong Style knew that Esmeralda was going to be involved in this matchup. As I said, we didn't even know that she was medically cleared, and looking to exact a pound of flesh here from Belle, one of the 2 women that attacked her out in the parking lot a few weeks ago. A lot riding on this as well, because the winner of this matchup, the faction will get to name the stipulation for the 3 versus 3 matchup at the Combat Evolved PLE. And, you know, you look at the type of matchups that we've had here in just the last few months alone. I mean, there is a plethora, there is a cornucopia of options for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, they really have any options available at their disposals. Belle goes into the cover here. Kick out at 2, strong kick out at 2 by Esmeralda.
Oh, nice brainbuster suplex there by Belle, firmly in control of Esmeralda at this point in time. I mean, you brought up a point as well with the fact that Belle and Rapunzel both going to have to defend the Disney Tag Team Championships at Combat Evolved. If you're Belle, you want to get this matchup over with quickly. You don't want to risk a possible injury going into that matchup as well.
Combat Evolved, it's going to be a really busy night for Belle.
Yes, it is.
Got the 3-on-3 matchup, got the tag team title defense.
Cover here by Esmeralda and a kick out at 1 by Belle.
I mean, it's just shaping up to be our biggest PLE yet, really, since Paramount. It might be bigger than Paramount, if we're being honest. I mean, the fact that we need this pre-show with all these massive announcements that are coming here to the future of FWE, definitely do not miss out.
Yeah, before that pre-show, I guess we could call it the pre-pre-show. Join us at 7 p.m. a week from tonight. We will not have an episode of FWE Extra. This is the go-home show to the PLE for Saturday nights, but Jack and I will be having a FWE podcast in which we will be announcing a ton of important details surrounding the future of FWE. We'll also be giving you the precursor, what to expect, the matchups that will be taking place at the Combat Evolved PLE pre-show and main event as well. Card just continues to build up. We will have it more than likely complete in the go-home show this Thursday night.
Yeah, definitely. Don't miss that out either. That's our 50th episode special here. We're going to hit episode 50 when we have that go-home show next week on Thursday,
Incredible.
so be sure to tune in.
I mean, we began this road all the way back in March of last year. We've been over a year here in fantasy wrestling and entertainment, and as you said, about to reach our 50th episode. That's not including the PLEs. That's not including the extra episodes we've had on Saturday nights. That's just pretty much encapsulating Thursday night broadcast as cover is in by Belle off that clothesline. Oh, and Esmeralda just barely got the shoulder up, but not much on that kick out.
There was quite an exchange there between the two. They were running all over the ring, doing jumps and flips over one another before that clothesline finally connected. And I think that maybe takes a lot of stamina out of your opponent. Says, look out here.
Hello, Belle! Is that going to be enough? Oh, Belle gonna go up to the top, gonna try and follow that up here, looking to give the Disney Queens the advantage, the choice of the stipulation at Combat Evolved.
Stock after that double axe handle didn't connect. Look
Oh,
out
got
here.
caught! Got caught! Gypsy Curse by Esmeralda! Is that gonna be enough? Is Disney Strong Style gonna name the stipulation? Oh! Kick out at 2!
I think it took our referee just a little bit of extra time, making sure that the shoulders were down, and that little moment's hesitation was all it needed.
Oh, wait a minute! Gonna run it back a second Gypsy's Curse!
That's the match. Make sure she's nowhere near the rope. I don't think Belle's getting up.
Is that gonna be costing any precious seconds here for Esmeralda? Into the cover, referee, a little bit of time to get there to count the 3, but it will indeed be a pinfall victory for Esmeralda in her return. Disney Strong Style will name the stipulation at the PLE. That has got to feel good in more ways than one. Not only does Esmeralda give her team the choice of matchup at Combat Evolved, but gets a pinfall victory over one of the 2 women that put her on the shelf for over a month.
This completely and totally changes the dynamic of that matchup that we're going to have at Combat Evolved. Now that we know Esmeralda is back, Disney Queens, they have to be reeling from that and thinking about what they're going to do next.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us for tonight's go-home show to the Combat Evolved PLE of FWE Extra. Again, next Thursday night, it's our go-home show to the Combat Evolved PLE as well. And a week from tonight, we've got a special FWE podcast precursing the PLE and some special announcement regarding the future of the industry. Thank you for joining us here on this Saturday evening. We'll see you guys on Thursday.